Hey there, today you will learn tips on how to get Global Entry, a United States trusted traveler program. When I got Global Entry this year, it was so easy and so fast, which made me really skeptical, but the emails were very confusing because they said I could interview for Global Entry after an international flight. But it really was easy and fast. And I'm going to teach you how to get Global Entry and how to understand the emails that they send you. One travel tip is that US citizens can get Global Entry, but over 14 other countries in the world are also eligible if they are citizens of that country. If you are in Mexico or in Canada, they recommend that you use the Nexus program. I want to remind you that if you are demeaning or trying to make a fight on here, I can hide you with one little tap from my channel forever. Do not respond to their comments. They just want people to be mad. We see and hear enough ugly comments. So on this travel tip video, I'm going to teach you how to get Global Entry, which will help you skip the lines at the US Customs and Border Protection. I have the link to tell you if you are eligible in the first comment as well as in the paragraph that's right below this video. But first you will apply online at the Customs and Border Protection website. And there are three things you will need to apply for Global Entry. One, your passport. Number two, your money, and a computer. Step number one is you must have or set up a Trusted Traveler Program account. And that just means choose Global Entry and it's going to tell you what to do next. Then you sign your life away and you pay your $100. One travel tip is make sure you give them an email that you will check, because in 5 years when it expires, it may have an email address that's like CBP or something. If it goes to your junk mail, it's just going to say CBP. So that's not going to, you're not going to notice that it's in there if it's in your junk mail. And then number two tip is that this is where they tell you that you've been approved for Global Entry. And tip number three is if you are on a budget and the $100 is too expensive for you right now, there is an app that you can use. It's kind of confusing for me. I was going to use it coming back from Belgium in December, but it's just a little confusing. But they do have lines for it. So I just decided to skip that app and pay for Global Entry. My viewers are who changed my mind and encouraged me to get Global Entry. I have been telling my viewers for 5 years that it was not worth it if you do not travel more than one time. But there are some benefits that you have with Global Entry that will cost you a meal in an airport. So it was worth it to me. My husband is an airline pilot, and one thing that he said, you may already know, but some people find this interesting, is that airlines all allow or schedule their arrivals and departure sometimes at certain bank times. So that's why you're number 12 in line for a 10 a.m. flight sometimes, because all of them are leaving in the morning or all of them are arriving between 2 and 4 p.m. in the afternoon from international flights, okay? So that's why sometimes the Customs and Border Protection lines in airports are extremely long, like over an hour. So with Global Entry, one of the benefits is you get to skip all those long lines. And number two, it lasts for 5 years. Number three, you do get pre-check. And one tip is that I renewed my pre-check last year, I think. So I've already paid that $78, but because of the benefits of skipping the line especially, it was worth it to me. So you just make that decision for yourself. And another benefit is it is all online until the interview. There's no paperwork that you have to keep track of. Step number three for getting Global Entry is you will get the really weird email stating you have been conditionally approved. That means now you can go for an interview. Now, you can schedule an interview on the website right there for you. It says schedule an interview or do an interview when you arrive from an international flight. I was very skeptical and did not think this was going to work. I set aside my mental time of being through with a trip. I want to just get in my car and get home. I set aside like 30 minutes after I landed from Mexico to do this interview, thinking something was going to go wrong. But step number 4 is an important step. You've got to find out if global entry is going to be at that airport, like for the interview process. And they have a section on their website that says find locations for these interviews. There are a ton of airports, even in other countries, which I thought was fascinating. If your hometown airport does not have that global entry interview area, know that when you're coming back from an international flight, you will probably go through an airport that does have an interview location. And here's the tip. Do not schedule, let's make it happier. Plan your connection time to be at least 3 hours so that you can not be rushed if the flight is delayed and you still want to do that interview and get it taken care of. Step number 5 is when you land in an airport or dock in a cruise ship dock, you are going to have to go through the Customs and Border Protection line. But this is the first time you get to skip the line, okay? In an airport, you cannot go through the global entry line even though you've been conditionally approved, remember? You have not done your interview. So I went to that officer and I said, hi, I've been conditionally approved. I took a screenshot of my email in case there was a problem or I couldn't remember the words conditionally approved. And I said, I'm here to take my interview. And she said, oh, you can't use this line. You have to go down there. And the signs say the CBP or US citizens. And that's where I saw that there was that MPC CBP line that I talked about for the app. So that is a good option, okay? But then I asked that officer, hi, I've been conditionally approved and I'm here for my interview. Which line should I get in? And he opened a lane that was just me. I got to skip all of that line again. And then there was one person in front of me. That's when I go through regular customs or border protection. They check my passport just like the other people standing in the 250 people line. One travel tip is that usually I recommend that you read all of the comments from our travel community below. However, because of the convoluted individual circumstances that each citizen has, it might be outdated. We don't know all of the extenuating circumstances for each person. So just go by the email that was sent to you and their website. You've got to use the official website that I have below. Just take the comments with a grain of salt, okay? Step number 6 is the actual interview. Now, once you have shown your passport like we normally do, coming back to the great United States of America, that man will say, or either you can ask, I've been conditionally approved. Where should I go for my interview? But he said, now you're going to go down this line right over there. So it looked like I was exiting, but then I saw the sign, conditionally approved. Okay. As a traveler, you know, the number one travel tip is to be observant when you're traveling. That sign was right there, conditionally approved. Go right here. I was the first person in line, and the person in front of me took maybe 5 minutes. And then my interview took less than 5 minutes. In order to go for your interview, in the original email that said you were conditionally approved, it tells you have to bring 2 documents to your interview. Your passport, which you already have, and then proof of residency, like a driver's license, okay? Sometimes I do not take my driver's license when I'm traveling internationally because I'm so worried it's going to get stolen or lost. So just make sure you will see what is a proof of residency on the website. I tell you, it sounds confusing, but it is so easy. So I had those pulled out. I don't even remember if he had to check my driver's license. One travel tip is you may not be conditionally approved for like 10 months or maybe a year. I think on their website it says less than a year now. Mine took a month, but I already have pre-check, so that could have sped it along. So the one question that I had was, what are the officers going to ask me in my interview? How long is it going to take? It took like 5 minutes max. But here are the questions they asked. He asked what my home address was, if I've been arrested, and then some small talk questions like, oh, you're a YouTuber, because I guess you had to put down what your job was. And then almost instantly, you get an email saying that your status has changed. But one tip I want you to know, you cannot do the interview anywhere unless you have the email that says you have been conditionally approved. That's what takes so long. One cool tip that the Customs and Border Protection officer told me after my interview is you do not need to pull out your passport at all unless there is some glitch. So that was interesting to me. All right, like I said, I've got the shoe video that should have popped up and in the first comment, but make sure you pack what you need, only what you need for a long international flight by watching that video up there. I will also have it linked in the first comment with all of the helpful websites that you may need trying to get global entry. Good luck and let me know how it goes. Thanks for your time.